Welcome to The Point of View, your favorite current affairs show here on ChannelOne television. On The Point of View, we get the right guests, ask them relevant questions on issues that matter to you. We have a very different show for you tonight because not very often that you have the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church in Ghana to give you an exclusive interview on a wide variety of issues. The church held its 26th General Assembly and issued a communique touching on a myriad of national issues. So the moderator of the church has joined us tonight to reflect on those thoughts. The Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nana Opare Kwakye, I think is the 19th moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church. Reverend, you are welcome.
Thank you.
Congratulations are in order because I think this is the first interview I've done with you since you took over.
That's true.
December 2023?
Yes.
Wow. How has the position been for you?
Good. God has been good. God has been good. It's meant a lot of running around the country, and you can imagine on our bad roads. But it's fulfilling,
yes,
especially when you see the wonderful work that God is doing among His people.
How large is the Presbyterian Church in Ghana?
Well, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana presently has a membership of close to 1,600,000 members.
1.6 million?
Yes.
Wow.
And we are spread into what we call presbyteries. So there are 21 presbyteries.
Okay.
And this time we would say that we have a church that is more global because some of our churches are even outside the shores of this country.
So Presby Church Ghana is in other countries?
Yes, yes.
Oh, okay.
We actually have two presbyteries now. There is the North America Australia Presbytery,
okay,
which takes care of churches in the US, Canada, Australia, the Caribbean islands.
Okay.
And then we have the Europe Presbytery that takes care of churches in both mainland Europe and on the continent.
Wow.
Yeah.
So some people call it branches, but how many Catholics call it parishes? What's your version of that?
Congregations.
How many congregations do you have in the country?
In this, we are talking about close to 3,500 congregations.
So it's impossible to visit all in your time?
No, at all. Not at all. Not at
Wow.
all. But these congregations are grouped into districts. And so as much as possible, by the time I would finish, I would have visited quite close to 90% of
the districts.
Of the districts, about 300 and
wow.
So
some are administrative visits, some are maybe a program you have to attend.
Yes. Usually every year I do what I call pastoral visits to the presbyteries. So when I visit a presbytery, then they send me out to visit almost all the districts in the presbytery.
Interesting. So this is quite a big job. Explain to the non-initiated who a moderator is, you know, because I think the Methodist Church have the presiding bishop.
Yeah.
And I think the Catholics for Ghana, they will have the sort of the head of the bishops' conference for a season. So who is a moderator in the Presby Church and how different is that from the other denominations?
Thank you very much. First of all, let me greet your viewers,
okay,
and I'm grateful to you for the opportunity to be with you. So the moderator of General Assembly is the leader of the church, basically. He is the spiritual leader, he's the pastoral leader, and also has administrative responsibilities.
Okay.
Because you have cited the examples of the Methodists, for example, I would say that he's the equivalent of the presiding bishop of the Methodist Church. And so we have had quite a number of moderators since the church became independent from the European Basel missionaries. And I'm the 19th of them.
The 19th of them.
Yes.
And the synod clerk is like the general secretary.
Yes, sort of. But now we no longer have synods. We no longer hold synods.
Okay.
We used to run synods from 1918 to 2000, the last synod.
Okay.
But after 2000, the church decided to go into what we call general assemblies.
Okay.
In the Presbyterian systems, the General Assembly is the highest court. And when we became a synod in 1918, basically what it really meant was that the Presbyterian Church in Ghana was under the Presbyterian Church in Scotland. But although we became independent later on, we kept running synods. But at this point, the church felt that we had come of age and that it was time to have an assembly. And so now we have a General Assembly. So now we call him the Clerk of General Assembly.
Not Clerk of Synod.
Yeah, no more Synod Clerk.
Interesting you mentioned Scotland, which means that the church has, I'm told, Swiss Basel roots, Scottish roots, and some Caribbean roots as well.
You are very right.
How does that work?
Very right. So the church started in 1828, and that's why we are going to be 200 years in 2028. We are the oldest continuously existing church in this country.
Serious?
Yes, that's true.
So you were here before the Catholics?
Well, yes. The Catholics came in this, basically, the Catholics came in the 16th century.
Yeah.
But somewhere in the 18th century, they left.
Okay.
They were chased out.
Okay.
There were some hostilities along the coast, and they left. They returned at the tail end of the 19th century, at which time the church was already established for more than 50 years here.
So you are the oldest
Continuously existing church in this country.
1828.
1828, and will be the first church to celebrate 200 years.
This is like the year of the Akatamanso or a year after or something?
2 years after Katamanso War.
Wow.
Yes.
So the mission from Switzerland
Yes.
started in 1828.
Yes.
And they've never looked back.
Not at all. The Basel missionaries arrived here in 1828, and they continued all the way till 1918, when you remember that between 1914 and 1918, there was the World War.
World War I.
And Ghana was a colony of England, and England was at war with the Germans.
Ah.
So the German missionaries were deported, and in their place, their colleagues in Scotland were invited because they were of the same polity.
So even though Basel is in Switzerland,
Yeah.
the missionaries were Germans.
Yes.
Which is why they were kicked out.
Majority of the missionaries were Germans. They had few Swiss missionaries, but
Okay.
I would say about 90% of the missionaries were Germans.
So
So
the-
usually the name is Basel German Evangelical Missionary Society.
I see. So the Bremen mission of the EP are closely related to the Basel because they are Germans.
Very close. Actually, here in Ghana, then known as the Gold Coast, the EP Church, then the Bremen Mission, and the Basel Mission Church worked very closely together.
Okay.
They were trained in the same place, and they did a lot of things together. They are like sister churches. And so even today, when we talk about the Reformed churches in Ghana, you are talking about the Presbyterian Church of Ghana and the Evangelical Presbyterian Church Ghana.
Interesting. So you are the oldest continuous church. So it means when you say something, we should listen. You have over 1.6 million members, over 3,000 congregations. So that's a huge church.
Yeah.
It's so okay.
Actually, when you put us together with our preaching points, we have preaching points and then greater congregations. When you put them together, we are talking about 5,000
Wow.
churches.
Are you the first to start higher I won't call it education from post-basic education in Ghana or Gold Coast?
Well, in terms of higher education, the Basel Mission Higher Education Institution, set up in Ekropong 20 years after their arrival in 1848, was the second highest higher education institution that was established in the whole of West Africa, coming after Furabe.
In Sierra Leone?
Yes. So
Wow.
after Furabe came Ekropong, which is now the Presbyterian College of Education.
So how come Infantipim is the oldest secondary school in Ghana?
Yes. The Basel missionaries actually were not interested in grammar education.
Okay.
So they set up what today is called training. It was more
Training college.
Training college.
To train teachers.
Teachers.
Okay.
But Infantipim was grammar school, started by the British. And so Infantipim came way ahead before the Basel Mission Church or the Presbyterian Church. We were late in entering grammar education because the missionaries felt that grammar education prepared people for government work, where there was a lot of corruption.
So they preferred either teacher training or
craft work, what we call today TVET schools.
Is that why they started the so-called middle schools?
Yes, so the middle school idea actually came from Germany.
Is it?
Yes, the Mittelschule. It was something that was already operational in Germany. And the Basel missionaries felt that much as people had been prepared in the basic school, there was the need to top up That was when they introduced what they called the standard school.
And that's why they have standard 7 and those things.
Yeah, so standard school ran up to 7, stand 7.
Okay.
And when you finished stand 7, then you were a fully educated person.
So the middle school was more practical training,
a lot of practical
bookish.
training, I agree with you, but also some training that could prepare you to do middle level work.
Which was replaced by JSS eventually.
Yes, yes.
Do you think we should go back to middle school?
No, I think we've gone past, way past.
But there's a sometimes question there because German-trained people, they like technical education. Their polytechnics are taken very seriously. We have converted our polytechnics into technical universities, so we are very bookish. But if you look at Germany's manufacturing and industrial revolution, in that argument, I think they are right. Because if you look at the way they are, even their my accounting lecturers who were Germans, they were quite practical. So I don't know whether we should reflect on the way we approach education again. I don't know what you think.
Well, thank you very much. I agree with you. I agree with you 100%. So for many years as a church, our education has focused not only on the development of the mind or the head, but also of the hand and also of the heart. And so we talk about the 3H, where we try to educate people with book knowledge, but also with craft work, so that people will learn to do things for themselves. It is one of the reasons why there is a growing unemployment, because if many people are trained in one craft or the other, I'm sure that many of the problems of our nation would have been solved. And actually, we would have developed further. With polytechnics now becoming technical universities, I noticed that there is a shift that is taking place, and it may not be helpful. We may reap the problems of this kind of shift some many decades to come. Yeah.
Since we're education, let me do 2 questions on education. How many business schools? How many schools do you have? Do you have the number?
Okay, so when we talk about our schools, we have about 2,500 basic schools.
Wow.
And then when it comes to the secondary schools, we talk about close to 40 now, including our technical institutes.
Wow.
And then we have 5 colleges of education at Ebri, Ekropong, Agogo, Chebi, and Abetifi. And then there are 2 universities, the Presbyterian University Ghana, and then we also have what we call the Akrofi Crystalla Institute.
It's owned by the Presbyterian Church?
Yes, it's a postgraduate theological institution.
So some people think the mission schools should go back to the churches. I've heard people argue that way. I heard the head of Infantipim, they call him Ebusiapenyi, he was thinking that they need a trust to take back the school because the schools are overcrowded, secondary schools are overcrowded, and they feel like the government is not expanding it enough. But I don't know if the churches have the clout or the finances to run them. So you have about 40 secondary schools. Where do you sit in that argument?
Well, I would say that for some of the secondary schools, it should not be too difficult for us to take them over. I mean, when you go to a school like your own school, Presec, I don't know how many students were in Presec when you were a student.
The whole school was about 1,000, or maybe 1,002.
Wow.
Maybe 1,002.
Last year, we admitted close to 2,000 students, only for 1 year.
Jesus. Wow.
And the facilities have not changed dramatically. And so it means that we are overburdened. And we are trying. Recently, one of our own, who is the chair of the school board, donated a 600-bed facility to us, which would help mitigate
Dr. Oforisapong.
Yeah, Dr. Oforisapong.
Yeah.
Dr. Oforisapong.
Yeah.
He's done one very well.
600 beds. 600-bed
house, which will help.
Maybe we should divide it into 6 houses.
That's not a bad idea.
Because they'll win all the games. It's 600-bed houses. When they do inter-houses, they'll win because there are too many.
But the problem is that when you add that one, it still will not be able to deal with the deficits we are.
So you still do double track?
Yes, we still do double track. And we pray that we will be part of government's intervention to win us of the double track into a single track system.
So for some of the schools, it will be easy for the church to manage, but not for others.
Yes, I mean, if it depends because some of our schools, you know, the Presbyterian schools are also very much in the rural areas. And therefore, it also means that some of these schools, city people who may be able to afford economically may not want to go to those schools, which means that these schools will be for the underprivileged. And it depends on if they would be able to help us with financing. I think that's where the problem
There's
is.
a big concern in your communique about indiscipline in senior high schools, point D.
Yes.
What is the concern and what is your proposal?
Well, thank you very much. There is a growing indiscipline in our schools, and all of us are witnesses. There's growing violence in the schools. I mean, we hear of students who go to school, instead of carrying books, they carry machetes. They have knives on them. They form gangs, and you hear of one school fight against another school, and people are not just injured, but sometimes people die. There are reports of deaths. Growing violence. We also have heard about sometimes sexual assaults. Some teachers taking advantage of our young ladies. They are minors. We also hear of attacks by students attacking teachers. And some of these things, they are very grave. The problem is that these things are going on, and we believe that it is a reflection of the growing indiscipline in our society itself.
So the school is a reflection of society?
Oh, yes.
It's not because the students have become worse?
Yes, it's a reflection. And sometimes the sad part is when young people do these things in schools and they are punished. I'm sure when you were in school, if anybody should do anything close to, probably not even to that degree, but close to this,
at least 6 lashes there you take.
But these days, corporal punishment is not in the school. They are no longer exercising it. I know that it was abused by some, but sometimes some of these things have allowed students to do whatever they like. We also know that truancy has reached its highest degree now. And there are students who never come to school for a whole year, but because the system allows them, when it is time for the waxy, they come to write the exam, and you cannot stop them. Delinquency all over the place. And we think that it is important that all of us come together, all stakeholders. Recently, that's about a month or two ago, the Minister of Health himself, the Honorable Haruna
Education.
Minister of Education, sorry, I said Health. Honorable Minister of Education, Honorable Haruna Idisu, organized a national conference on stemming indiscipline in our schools.
So were you people there?
Yes, I was there personally.
You were there?
I was there personally. And we all shared our thoughts. And it is a concern not only for the ministry, it's a concern for the church, it's a concern for everybody. And we know that it is a tangent. If we do not stem it now, we will be in trouble.
Presby is supposedly known for discipline. I remember when I went to Presec, we learned how to weed, and when you see your headmaster, you are shivering. I'm not sure if your church has a solution, maybe the approach of education you have as the means of stemming it. Of course, you said it's a societal issue, but and I'm bringing this into the mission school discussion and then the lawsuit as well, because the Wesley Girls case, yourself and the Catholics have joined. Why is it important to you for that matter to be decided in a particular way?
Thank you. Well, as you said, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, our schools have been known for discipline, to the extent that for many years in this country, there was something known as Presbyterian discipline. And many people sent their children to our schools because they were sure, they were very certain that when their children finished school, they would not just be academically bright, but they would also be responsible persons, so that education will not end with learning what is in the book only, but in bringing up people. In my address to General Assembly, I reminded the Assembly that the anthem of Presbyterian Boys Senior High School, Presec Legon, has a line that goes that for Christian training we get
a sure solid foundation to take our
place in the nation,
in the future of our country and church.
Yeah, so this is very important.
Very, very.
So the training was to produce, in a school like Presec, fine Christian gentlemen. And I think that also for the girls' schools, wonderful, beautiful ladies who were not just academically bright, but also morally responsible. And that has to do with the way a person is formed. Now, what do you do in a school when the formation is meant for only a category of people, and there is another category in the school who would not yield to the formation guidelines? I think that becomes problematic. That was one major reason why the church decided, and I'm sure it's the same reason why the Catholic Church also decided to join the suit against Wesley Girls.
So for you, training a student in a Presbyterian way includes the Christian Presbyterian tradition. It's not just the academic work.
Yes, not just the academic work. Presec is not known only for academic work. Presec is known to produce good Christian gentlemen. Not that they become Christian only in their heart, but in terms of the values of integrity, values of punctuality. So, for example, there is a service going on. Maybe you are in Presec, and there must be an assembling of students, and students must appear at 8 a.m. But because one belongs to traditional religion or another faith, one is unable to join, then you are not being formed properly. Attending these meetings are very important. It is true that what is happening in Wesley Girls may be unique to Wesley Girls, but a decision against Wesley Girls is a decision that will go against all the mission schools. And we believe that we will not have to take every mission school one after the other. So it's a suit that we have joined, and we believe that if the decision goes well for us, and we pray that the justices of the Supreme Court will be fair and acknowledge what these schools represent. We do not seek to shut out any faith. I have said in many places that because of my training, and for many years I taught at the Department for the Study of Religions, where there is a lot of respect for people of other faiths. I have noticed also that the Presbyterian Church of Ghana actually believes what I believe. We respect people of other faiths. We tolerate each other. And we believe that if others need to be tolerated, it's important for the others also to tolerate us. And so when you enter our space, that small space, only for a short time, you submit yourself or yield yourselves to the extra rules that will not exist in purely government institutions. These are extra rules that apply in a Christian institution. And I think that it is fair that everybody who agrees to go to Presec or to Abri Girls or to Kobo Girls or any Presbyterian institution should be ready to yield. However, it is also important for us to also respect the faith of these others.
So it's a balancing act.
Yes, sir.
We'll take a break. This is the point of view. My guest is the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana, the Right Reverend Dr. Abraham Nana Opare Kwakye. There's a lot to talk about. When we come back, we'll talk about health, no bed syndrome, Galamsey, and all those issues. Stay with us. My guest is the moderator of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. Over 5,000 congregations and preaching posts. It's a huge church, the first church in Ghana, properly so called. So almost 1.7 million members. So that's a huge flock to follow. He hasn't even added those who are abroad. You mentioned the health by accident, so I'll come to health. Your communique touched on the no bed syndrome, Charles Emis's death, and the need for some things. What's your real concern with the health side?
Thank you. I believe that not too long ago, the young man, the 29-year-old Chasemisa, died. I realized that it became a major issue on Ghanaian media, your own station, and your person, actually. You took this matter up. We acknowledge the work of the committee that probed into his death and the recommendations that have been made. Since then also, we also take note of what the President, His Excellency, President John Dramani Mahama, has said about admitting people and taking away this no-bed thing, and a few controversies that have emerged since then.
Yeah.
But we think that the problem is bigger than just what we have heard. Mm-hmm. I mean, you can imagine how many other Chasemises have lost their lives all over this country because there were no facilities to take care of them. And we, however, acknowledge that there have been a number of projects to start new hospitals all over the country. Mm-hmm. We know about the Agenda 111. Mm-hmm. Thankfully, this week, I have noticed that the Wager Children's Hospital has finally opened.
Yes.
And we are grateful. We are grateful. Although we mentioned it in our communique, yes, because at the time it was not open.
Yes.
We've talked about the Ferry, many others. Quite a number of hospitals. And the projects are stalled. And, you know, when you are in Accra, usually the thing is that there are quite a number of private hospitals around in Accra. So even in the absence of these public hospitals providing care, you may be able to find your way somewhere. But when I travel out of Accra, I see communities, I see whole territories without any proper health care. And people have to travel, and sometimes you wonder whether they are also citizens of this country. You wonder whether they are people who we care for.
So are you're proposing that
all these hospitals must be completed?
Well, the Minister of Health said that Agenda 111, there are 3 levels. Some they will finish.
Yeah.
Some they want private sector and CHAG to partner to finish. Is the Presbyterian Church part of CHAG?
Yes, we are.
So are you interested in raising money to finish some of the hospitals?
Yeah, we have started engaging together as CHAG.
Okay.
We have started engaging the Ministry of Health. Normally, as CHAG, we do not work separately. So we are engaging.
So a group of Christian Health
Association.
You are not individual. You don't come and say, okay.
Yeah, so we are engaging. However, those that they will complete, let them complete them. Let them complete them. You know, in Ghana, looks like we love talking about we will. It's in the pipeline. We are. Let us complete them. I travel and I see a lot of them. Some of them now are overgrown with weeds. And there's talk. We will.
But once you are committed to us, because the churches have money now. The churches there are huge churches in Ghana now, and they've done great in education, but it seems the government may not be able to do it alone. So shouldn't the churches play a more prominent role in setting up health facilities too?
We have. Actually, the Presbyterian Church of Ghana has quite a number of health facilities.
Okay.
Until recently, when we were affected by the conflict that's taking place at Boku. You know that Boku Government Hospital, Presbyterian Hospital, Boku, used to be one of the biggest health facilities that we had. Really? But we've been affected negatively by the conflict. That has pushed us from the 3rd position now in terms of healthcare to the 4th position.
Is it?
Until recently, after government, it was the Catholic Church and then the Presbyterian Church. And so we have a big facility that takes care of all the people on the Afram Plains. The biggest health facility on that Afram Plains is the Donkokrum Presbyterian Hospital.
Wow.
When you go to the Upper East region, we have a facility at Garu, and then we used to have Boku, and then some facilities in Bolgatanga. Now, when you go to the Asante Achim area, I believe that everybody knows about the Presbyterian Hospital at Agogo.
Agogo, yes.
It's very popular, and it's bigger than most of the facilities in the area. In the Doma area also, we are known there. The Catholics have, the Methodists have, the Seventh-day Adventists are also in healthcare. And so quite a number of our communities are provided with healthcare not by government, but by churches. Yes. But these are not enough. There is more to be done. And we believe that this Agenda 111, which was started, for us, it is not about partisan politics. It's about development of a nation. We believe that these hospitals must be completed. When they are completed, you and I, we will be the beneficiaries. Do not forget that during the time of COVID, all our big men, they could no longer travel outside Ghana for healthcare. They had to satisfy themselves with local healthcare. And sometimes in traveling from one place to the other, people lose their lives. Why not do ourselves good by providing for ourselves?
The Presby Church has been one of the vocal institutions condemning Galamsey. I think in June, a number of your congregations observed June 14 as National Red Sunday campaign. Was this spontaneous, or actually was it something the General Assembly or the church administration hierarchy agreed on, or the church is just spontaneously doing this?
Thank you. Indeed, we've been involved in the advocacy against Galamsey for a long time. And this Red Sunday is not the very first.
Okay.
We have had Red Sunday, we had Red Sunday in 2024 and 2025, but I think that these were not very much highlighted. This year, the National Red Sunday took a more significant step when we went out on social media to advertise what we were doing. So it's been part of what we are saying. All of us are aware that this nation is in a direction that is not going to help us. The communities where mining is taking place, these communities are getting destroyed. And our waters are polluted. And we spend huge amounts of money to treat water. I think that government has the political power. It also has the might to crush Galamsey. If government wants to crush Galamsey, government is able to. This year we had a symposium. We decided to move our symposiums from Accra, this time to a mining area. So we went to Takwa. It was, the National Red Sunday came just a few days after the symposium at Takwa, where we highlighted the ills of Galamsey and how it's affecting us as a nation. I pray that this nation will rise up together. It looks like we are not angry enough to deal with it. Whatever the problems, let's deal with Galamsey, because it affects me, it affects you. We sit in Accra, there's no Galamsey going on here, but we are all reaping from what is happening in these places.
There was a time when the chairman of the Pentecost Church made a comment about Galamsey and received some pushback from a state official. I think the chief of staff later on went to apologize. But there's a view that the Galamsey is also political. So if the church, of course, we should all condemn Galamsey, but there are people who see sort of the measure. How are you condemning under NDC versus MPP, that kind of thing? Do you worry about that? That since Galamsey is getting worse, if we keep the fight up, it may be construed as, because indeed, when you declare your Red Sunday, the minority caucus issued a statement to support it. So there's a sense in which it can become partisan. How are you guarding against that?
Well, the most important thing, and I think that the Honorable Dr. Julius Debra, who was the special guest of honor representing His Excellency the President, encouraged the Presbyterian Church to be consistent in our advocacy. And that is what we have been doing. We are consistent in being a moral voice in this nation. As I said, the National Red Sunday did not start this year. The first time we had National Red Sunday was in 2024. At the time, the NDC, who are now in office, they were in the opposition. And some of their people supported us. And we are not partisan. We are looking at the welfare and development of our nation. And so when we had it this year, we have not looked at who has come to support us and who is against us. What we are seeking is for this nation to do what is right. And for this nation to be united. And that is why we are asking for a bipartisan approach. It's important that we save ourselves. Like the Honorable Chief of Staff said, the water that is polluted does not ask whether your lips are NDC or MPP. They don't seek your partisan colors. So for us, we are very insistent, and I think we have been consistent in condemning Galamsey, and we will condemn Galamsey until it stops, whether it's under MPP.
So are you part of those asking for a state of emergency, for example? Some people want that the government should declare that so that they can clamp down on, because it's getting worse.
I think it's getting worse. When people say they want a state of emergency, personally, I do not know what they mean. A state of emergency might be declared and it may not yield fruit. What I want is a result. I want the result of clamping down on Galamseyers. I want to see our waters getting cleaner. I want to see foodstuff, local foodstuff, and foodstuff that is exported being of good quality, so that I would eat and be sure that I am safe.
Your communique, did it touch on road safety? Because there's an increase in road crashes. Indeed, if you take the statistics, Ghana's road crash statistics are quite serious compared to most other countries. What is the church's view on that? And should the pulpit be used to preach more about safe driving? Because more people are even dying on roads than from other diseases.
Yeah. Thank you very much again. On the road crashes issue, we observed that the National Road Safety Authority gave us indication that there were 2,949 road deaths in 2025 compared to 2,494. And even one road death is significant. Much more to have 2,949.
So almost 3,000.
Almost 3,000.
A jump of 500.
Yes.
From 24 to 25.
Yes.
Wow.
And this has nothing to do with who is in government. It has to do with drivers. It has to do with minors driving on our roads, people without proper licenses. It has to do with very bad roads. Very, very bad roads that cause some of these accidents. We think that it is time for us to take a very serious view of these things. And there is the new road traffic regulations, 2026. We want to call for a strict enforcement of those regulations, especially when it comes to speeding, overspeeding on our roads, and dangerous driving, and it is something else.
The biggest thing, at least point B, was on flooding.
Yes.
Of course, this is 29 June was when the last major one occurred.
Yeah.
So even though your communique is dated August 16 or so, you still spent a bit of time on flooding. Because as we speak, people are not talking about flooding anymore. But you chose to start with flooding as the key issue. Why is flooding important, and what specifically you want to see with flooding?
Thank you. Bernard, you can imagine that is this not the way we do things in this country? When a matter comes, we talk about it. We flog it, sometimes overflog it. After a while, a new one comes up. It is abandoned. And no solutions are found to the problem until the problem arises again. Is this the first time we are experiencing flooding like this in this country? It is not. And we know that when the rains are torrential like they were this year, flooding will come. Not because they are beyond us, but because of human activity, because of environmental degradation, because people are building in waterways. And when the flooding takes place, Bernard, you and I would hear even the people who are supposed to supervise and ensure that these things do not happen, they join the chorus. There is building in waterways. We need to do cleaning of our communities. And they call for national cleaning of gutters. And we all do that for a month and two. And then we are back.
So you brought it back even though we are not in the flooding season.
We will keep talking about it until something is done.
When we come back, I have a few questions for you. 70% of Ghanaians profess Christianity. Corruption is very high. Statistical Service did a survey. 67% of people said they had been asked for a bribe by a public official. Can the churches do more to reduce corruption? We'll also talk about the church's 200-year celebration and what they want to do. This is The Point of View. Stay with us. So we are speaking to the moderator of the General Assembly of the Presbyterian Church of Ghana. It's a very long post, and the name is also long, Right Reverend. Interestingly, you are the only one who's used Right Reverend in a long time, because most of your predecessors were called Very.
Well, they were all Right Reverends. You are a Right Reverend until you have completed your term.
Is it?
When you complete your term, you become Very Reverend.
So Presbyterians don't have Most Reverend?
No, please.
So it ends at
Right
right.
Reverend.
Okay,
Right
I
Reverend.
get that, because I see. So you are Right Reverend.
Yes.
Wonderful. 70% or more of Ghanaians say they are Christians, right? And yet, I think it was early August, Statistical Service again came up with a survey. They call it the Wave Corruption Report. Almost 63% of people said, oh, they have been asked for a bribe. Corruption is a big issue in Ghana. So shouldn't I blame you? Because you control 1.6 million of those people. Why? They are part of those who collect the bribes. They are part of those who ask for it and pay for it, right? So what's going on with that? And how can we use the church to fight a canker like that?
Well, thank you. Yes, you are right if you blame us. You are right, because 70% of Ghanaians sit in our churches almost every Sunday. They hear us preach the gospel, and they go out there and are influenced by bribes, and they go out there and have lower standards. You are right in blaming us. However, I mean, one considers the fact that not everybody who comes to church has had the transformation of heart that we desire. And so we agree that some of them have to do with people we have not managed to convert. But it is not enough to place the blame on the churches. It is important for us as a nation to develop systems that will cure this canker you call corruption. And let me give you a small example so that you would use that, if you don't mind. Some years ago, I traveled to the States for a conference, and I had to pay extra for my bag. When I took out, it was $150. When I took out the $150 to pay, I was told that I was not expected to pay with cash. I had to use a card. I didn't have a card, so I had to go to a vending machine to get a card, put my money on it, and use it to pay. And it made sure that the monies I paid went into the system. Strangely enough, the next time I was traveling out of this country, I was asked at the airport whether I was carrying some foodstuffs, and I said yes. And they showed me the agric sports, and I was supposed to go and pay there. And so I went to pay.
You wanted to pay with your card?
Well, when I went, they collected cash. And it wasn't just the cash that they collected, but the receipt they gave me, clearly I knew that this was not receipt that was going to government checks.
It didn't look like a proper receipt.
No. And I started arguing until I realized that in arguing, I was losing time on my checking in. So I had to leave them. The point I'm making is, we are not creating systems that will keep people who desire, because it is human to desire to be corrupt. But it is a system. If you put a system in place, corruption will come down. And so it's not just about church people. It's also about the systems we create.
Don't you think our theology as Ghanaian Christians should change? I listened to the former Vice President of Nigeria, Osibanjo, talk about Western societies and how Christianity formed the ethos of what they built. He made reference to the Puritans, the Quakers. And his point was that even the Protestant Reformation created certain principles like hard work. So if you go to Netherlands, Germany, a lot of the Protestant countries, they do very well because their national culture has been sort of influenced by the theology of the time.
Yeah.
So beyond making calls, communicate, maybe you need to go back into conclave and say, maybe we are not preaching the right message for which the national conscience will be. Because you heard me criticize, for example, the note-based syndrome and how people can be so callous. A lot of Ghanaians are they are not diligent. If you give them work, they are not honest. Don't you think that there needs to be a different theology around what it means to be a Christian? To influence, because you've built schools, you've done a lot, but clearly the Ghanaian mindset is not, in my view, developmental. And I think maybe you people need to change the course outline so that when we come on Sunday, instead of making us feel comfortable, you have to start preaching a different message across. Maybe, I don't know, you need to...
I agree with you, but you see, I don't agree when you say we should change. Some people, some preachers have taken a tangent. The direction they are giving is prosperity, and it's all about miracles. And so it fosters this. But there are still good preachers in this country who are teaching people about integrity. They are teaching people about values that will make a nation better. This year's at General Assembly, when we talked about celebrating our heritage, building on the foundation already laid, we laid emphasis on the values, the core values of the church that have made us who we are. And we are encouraging our people to keep talking about these values. The unfortunate thing, Bernard, is that, unfortunately, in this country, if you go to church and the pastor is talking about sin, he's talking against sin, or talking against bribery and corruption, he's not the most popular pastor. People no longer want to go to his church. They want to go to a church where they'll do, that kind of thing. So it is a choice that many people have made. But some leaders, and I can assure you that these are the silent and sang ones, they keep emphasizing on values that develop a nation. And if all of us, especially our leaders, would give such people the push, we will be able to make the impact.
Maybe the Presby Church should issue an internal memo around the emphasis of your messages, because a lot of people look to the Presby Church for inspiration. And you may, because for me, I agree with you that some churches are off a tangent. But if you have 5,000 preaching posts, 1.7 million members, a moral revolution can occur if your preachers consistently talk about these things.
Yeah.
And they make it, because look, people are chasing money because, as you said, people have been told that that's the way. In fact, they've even equated salvation to wealth.
That's true.
Right? So clearly you have a lot of work to do. Anyway, you are 200 years old next 2 years.
Yeah.
So when will the celebration start, and what's the key thing you want to do to commemorate that? Okay,
so the Presbyterian Church of Ghana will be 200 years in 2028, having started the church in 1828. The celebrations have already started.
Okay.
Celebrations were launched in 2024, December, and the then President of the Republic was present. Since then, we have had a number of lectures and symposiums and heritage visits to build up the spirit towards the celebration. There will be a climax in the big Thanksgiving service, God willing, in October 2028, here in Accra, at which we expect His Excellency, the President of the Republic, to also be there to help us climax the celebrations. As part of the celebrations, we have gone on a very strong evangelism drive. As a church, our very basic call is mission. And therefore, we are trying to encourage as many people to come to the saving knowledge of Jesus Christ. And so as a church, we are encouraging people to what we call the Agenda 2 million, and hoping that we'll be able to build our membership up to about 2 million members by the time we celebrate the 200 years. But we also intend putting up a monumental project, a legacy project that will remind all who will come years after of this 200-year celebration. And this will be at Kutunse, where we are building an ultra-modern conference center. Its work started last year, and we are confident that by 2028, God willing, this project would also be done. The entire Presbyterian Church is being mobilized so that we'll be able to do this. We hope to talk again before that time. And thank you for speaking to us, the Right Reverend Dr. Nana Opare Kwakye, Moderator of the General Assembly, Presbyterian Church of Ghana, spending time on the point of view, thinking through national issues and all of them. We wish you well. Thank you so much. I am grateful to you, and thank you very much. You are doing so well. Thank you. And all of us are inspired by what you're doing. But we take pride in the fact that you are Presec. Correct. I went to the high school in Lumini too. Our moderator is very important to us in Presec, so we really love our moderators. But thank you for watching, and we'll see you next time. And by the way, secondary school admissions, I'm sure you're getting pressure. More than pressure. After this interview, I will vanish. Until the admissions are over. Anyway, so if you get admission to Presec, go, there's a good school, and let's contribute to building our nation. We'll see you next time. Bye-bye.